folks. Look, very special live because I'm in the car. So let's get Jasmine out her birth story, which is one. She makes that very clear. There's only one birth story. Okay. Hey friend.
Hey, girl, not you in the car.
Listen, it's a very special, okay? I had places to be. Okay.
I understand. You gotta do what you gotta do. Okay.
Um, yes, this is Stories for Mamas Live with our co-hosts, me, Dr. Sha'Rose, and Jasmine Mitchell. And this week we are going to be talking about your birth story, friend.
We are. We
Yes.
are.
Are you mentally prepared?
You know, I don't think that I have, and y'all are probably gonna get it like real raw and in living color because last night our class was amazing. I've had about 4 hours of sleep, maybe. That's a real question mark. So, yeah, all the inhibition is just
Okay. So we're
yeah.
going to reel the raw, the emotion. We're going to get all of that. Because that not having sleep. Do you see these eyes? Okay, they are tired, friend. They are. I might even have a little makeup there still. But it was worth it.
Man,
So worth
what?
it. It was
It was great.
so worth it. Okay.
Y'all are in Huntsville and you have not come to one of our Unleashed classes. Let me tell you, y'all are missing out. We had a time last night.
Oh,
Oh
girl.
my goodness.
Then I went home.
Hmm.
Let's just say if I could have more children, it would have happened last night.
Well,
I still wouldn't, but
yeah, I got you. I understand. I understand.
Okay. So tell me, friend, how did you become a mom?
Tequila.
Girl,
That's that is the shortest, sweetest, simplest answer. It was date night. You know me. My thing has always been dancing. So we would go out dancing and yeah, it was just one night, one too many shots, and boom.
listen, I love the real. Okay. So this was not a
No.
planned thing. Okay, we had some tequila, some dancing, and boom, we have a baby.
Hmm.
Okay. Tell me about your pregnancy.
Oh gosh. Like poster child for worst pregnancy, like pregnancy
Uh,
sucks. So the way that I did, I'm just go ahead and put this trigger warning out there. We're being real. It's a little graphic, but it was really my experience. The way that I found out that I was pregnant, I've always had really bad menstrual cramps. So woke up in the middle of the night, wasn't really feeling great. And like that nauseous, like, oh, kind of need to go sit on the toilet, kind of need to throw up, like when you're cramping really bad.
yeah.
So I thought it was one of those. And so jump up, go in the bathroom. I was like, man, I feel like I gotta throw up. But then I was like, no, I really have to use the bathroom. Sit down to go to the bathroom, and I kid you not, it was like something out of the exorcism. I started projectile vomiting.
Oh my.
It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, just all over the bathroom, and I could not stop. And I managed, like, in between cycles, I was able to text help to Michael because he was up doing something in the office, and I text help, and I hear him coming down the hallway, and he was talking to somebody. He had on his headset or whatever. He was talking to somebody, and he was like, "I gotta go," and it was that bad. Like he had to peel me up off the floor once I finally stopped, and
God.
um, again assumed it was like back period cramps, whatever. Went to sleep, but I was still sick for like the next couple of days. So we finally took a test, and what do you know? Good and pregnant.
That is graphic.
That
I
yeah.
can imagine, like, your body immediately was like,
Oh yeah, absolutely. It immediately knew that I was
yeah.
pregnant, and what was crazy, I think, so I was sick the entire time, entirety of my pregnancy. My first trimester, not even my first trimester, first like 2 or 3 weeks, I was in so much pain. And when I say pain, like can't walk, can't do much. Yeah, I remember being balled up like in the fetal position on my ottoman. Um, and I was like, I just don't know what to do. Um, so I ended up calling like a clinic, like it's like some kind of emergency maternity line,
Mm-hmm.
because I really didn't know what was going on. And they told me, if you're still in pain, you probably need to go to the hospital if you're in this much pain. So we go to the hospital, I don't know, maybe around, well, we assume it was like 3 or 4 weeks maybe. Go to the hospital, find out we have two fully fertilized embryos. Yeah. Um, two fully fertilized embryos, but one was struggling.
Okay.
Um, and so they were asking me all kind of weird questions about fertility, and I was just like, no, like I did not know I was pregnant till like a minute ago. Like this wasn't on purpose. So whatever is happening, my body is just doing. Then it ended up, I think my body was just kind of trying to save the good embryo and trying to push the other one out. So the entirety of my first trimester, I ended up losing about, I want to say like 20 pounds. I couldn't retain water. It was a good day if I could keep 3 to 4 ounces of fluid in my system. Like it was a good day. It was terrible. Um, and then I ended up not being able to work much. Like every once in a while I'd be able to push out a day or two in the gym, but nothing really, I couldn't really do much. Um, Second trimester, the sickness slowed down. It didn't stop. So I still had days where I'd wake up really, really sick. And morning sickness is not a morning thing. You're sick all day. I don't know who told that story. Um, but I ended up dealing with a lot more like acid reflux and stuff like that during my second trimester. Um, And then second trimester is when I started having excruciating back pain. And I'm a person, I'm a trainer, I work out, I'm usually, very in tune with what's going on with my body. And so I was telling my doctor, like, I'm hurting, like, barely able to walk the length of my house, pain. Um, and everybody was just like, oh, it's fine. It's your muscles are stretching and things are moving. And I was just like, it doesn't feel right. Like I can't get comfortable. And I remember going into my doctor's office one day, and I was not even like third trimester pregnant. Like it was still, we may have been like maybe halfway. I couldn't sit down. All I could do was lean over the little table just to pull pressure off of my back. And they were like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not okay. I keep telling y'all I'm not okay. So they ended up prescribing me this little joke of a muscle relaxer that did nothing but piss me off because it didn't do anything but like go, oh, here you go. This is what relief might feel like if we gave it to you for real. Like it was just, it would do something for half a second and then it was just back to pain. And so yeah, my second trimester pretty much sucked. Third trimester, that's when I swole up. I was so swollen. It it was rough. I By the time I had my son, actually the day I gave birth, I was like 199 pounds. Um, just a bunch of fluid retention, and they kept trying to come at me. They were like, "You just got to eat better. You got to stop drinking all these juices." It was like, I can't eat anything. Like I'm really not eating the way that y'all are trying to say that I'm eating and gaining weight. Like I just was not. My body just did not like to be pregnant.
It
That's
from the beginning, your body said, "What is this?"
it, literally. And I tell people that's my joke. Like I'm a pregnancy because we just don't make it.
My thing is like hearing how your second trimester was as a pelvic floor physical therapist. all the pain that you're describing and a muscle relaxer, which is so common for back pain. Like that's the number one line people doctors will prescribe. But there's so much more.
Yeah.
Like so much more that you could have done in just that time.
Yeah.
And like you wouldn't have been in as much pain, but you definitely would not have been as miserable throughout the rest of your pregnancy
Yeah.
either.
And if I had even known then what I know now
Right.
about, training and how to train deep core and things that I could have done, but you just don't
Yep.
know. A lot of the movements and exercises and things that you can do,
Yeah.
it's stuff that I do, but I did not know that it would specifically help me in that
Yeah.
time. So,
Because no one told you. No one told you those resources weren't there. So we're into the third trimester.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which this baby's about to come soon.
Yes, I was actively trying to get this child out of me. I'm in my head, I knew 36 weeks was done enough. I
Done
knew 36
enough.
weeks. He was fine. Like they check him over, an extra time, but they sent him home, and I was like, I'm good with that. So I'm actively trying to get this child out. And I was a person, I did prep for birth. I was really trying to be intentional. My whole birthing plan was ready, I'm doing the hypnosis practices, like holding the ice and doing like little mantras, and I had my playlist set up, like all of my little wish list of everything that I needed, who I wanted in the room, like everything, whole nine.
Okay.
But yeah, no, that baby wouldn't come out. He wouldn't come out. He wasn't moving. And thinking back on it now, I remember my doctor saying something to me about having an inverted uterus,
Mm-hmm.
casually, at one of my appointments. Asked him what that meant, if I needed to do anything to help. He was like, no, people do this all the time. You're fine. Okay. So, third trimester, baby's still not coming, actively walking. Well, I mean, I'm walking miles every day. Got the dog, and we're moving.
When?
He wasn't coming. I went to my 39-week appointment. It was like 38 in like 6 days when I went to my 39-week appointment.
Mm-hmm.
And at my 38-week appointment, they did take my blood pressure and they said it was slightly elevated. But they said they'd send me home and they, watch it. And
Right.
my mom's a nurse. My OB actually knew my mom very well. So he was like, just have her check your blood pressure, every day, make sure everything's fine. 39-week appointment, go to the doctor. I had my mom take me to my appointment because Michael was trying to save like his PTO and stuff for
Of course.
after, So sitting in the office, they take my blood pressure. She's like, mm-mm. I'm like, what do you mean? Mm-mm. She's like, your blood pressure. She's like, it's kind of high. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
comfortable. Let me call the doctor. Okay. They call the doctor, and next thing I know, they're like, yeah, don't pass go, don't collect $200, go straight to the hospital.
At 39
Yeah,
weeks.
39 weeks. And me being me, I was like, okay. So I went home. I took a shower. I went and got something to eat because I was like, I already know how this is gonna go. Y'all gonna lock me in this room and be like, you can't have nothing. So I did. I went to do all my stuff, do my shower, all that, and text Michael. He met us back at the house, packed up our stuff, sent my mom with the dog, and we went to the hospital. Um, and when we got to the hospital, oh, I don't remember what it was called, but they placed some type of cervix softener
Okay.
or
Yes.
something. Um, and they were like, okay, we're gonna do this overnight, and tomorrow you gotta go into labor. Like we're starting labor, we're inducing labor. But I was like, I let them place a cervix softener, but I was just like, I did not want to be induced. I did not
Mm-hmm.
want any type of medical intervention
Right.
outside of it just being type of like a life or death type situation. Like I wanted to do it on my
Yeah.
own. So I told the nurse, I was like, well, I need to talk to my doctor. And she was like, well, he's not in the building tonight. He won't be in it until tomorrow. Well, he's my doctor and I know you know how to reach him. So, I need to talk to him. So they go and get the on-call phone and she's talking to him. I was like, no, give me the phone. And I sure did. And I was like, I'm not understanding. Like, can't we just monitor it? But apparently because it had been getting progressively higher and they just
Mm,
never really alerted me about it. They were like, we're just not okay um waiting it out.
right,
I wish I knew what I knew now because I definitely would have just been like, let's still give it some
right.
time. But we did the cervix softener the next morning. They come in, they start the Pitocin,
Mm, that shit.
and it just, yeah. Um, my body didn't like none of it because my body just wasn't responding. They had me on Pitocin, no pain medication or anything. For a little over 12 hours, highest level of Pitocin that they could give
Oh
me.
my.
And I went from half a centimeter to a centimeter dilated the entire day.
The entire day?
The entire day. Um, but my little testimony in that is I do believe I think the Lord was really looking out for me and Jordan because my mother was in there. I wanted her help with monitoring and stuff, and she never really said anything, but I could see it on her face. Every time I would have a contraction, she'd just get real uncomfortable.
Mm,
Like I could tell, and she wasn't even looking at me. Like she was over in the monitors, just like fidgeting. And what was happening was it wasn't super, I guess, bad at that time. But every time I would have a contraction, Jordan's heart rate would drop.
right.
Um, and so I tell myself it was the Lord looking out, like he wouldn't let it go any further because Jordan just was not doing well, with the contractions and the Pitocin or whatever. So,
Right.
about 7 p.m., they finally come in the room and he had already done like broken my water and all. Like we had tried all the things. I've been on the ball, bouncing, walking, jumping, anything that they would let me do, I had tried. Finally he came in, he was just like, I'm just not confident. He was like, you've got 12 more hours. Um, since, it had been 12 hours since he broke my water. He was like, you've got 12 more hours. If you want I was so hungry. I was so sleepy. I was just like, I don't care. Like,
Put me in.
let's just get this over with. I want to be done. I want to eat food. And I just want to be I just want to be done. So he was like, okay, we'll do C-section.
Mm,
And the crazy thing was my body just started shaking. Like the moment I think I realized I was going into surgery, it was just like
yeah.
it wasn't the labor shakes, that people talk about. It wasn't that. It was just this anxiety that I had and I was just jittery. And I remember being rolled down the hall and it felt like being rolled down a dungeon or a
Mm,
prison. Like everything is just super bright white and everybody's in these masks, like obviously a hospital, but they're in these masks, and you're just kind of looking like, what is this? Like it just felt so it it just felt weird, almost like being rolled around in a prison or something. It was just I don't know how to explain. It was just eerie. That's the best way I could put it. It was just real eerie.
yeah.
And I remember right before they took me into the operating room because they have her husband wait outside and I just looked at Michael and I was like, please make sure I come out of this room. And I like and I
Ooh,
felt tears welling up in my eyes when I said it. I was just like, please. And
yeah.
then obviously they take me in the room, they take him to go get ready, and everybody's walking around this room so happy-go-lucky and chatty and, oh yeah, how was your day, and this, hey Bob, hey Tom.
Huh?
And I'm horrified. Like, I am just like, oh my God, they're about to cut me in half on this table. And everybody's acting like it's just another day. Like, and then, they tell you to sit on the table and they lean you over for the spinal tap. And I told the girl, like, I gotta hold you because I can't stop my body from shaking. Little young girl, she couldn't have been older than like 22, 23. but she was really just very kind. And, she grabbed me, she let me hold her tight. Like I was gripping the life out of that poor child.
Ugh.
Um, and, they laid me down. And I just remember thinking, I feel like a frog, like in a science lab right now, because the way they spread you out and you stop feeling things, but you're also very aware of the fact that you don't have clothes on right now. And
Mm.
it's just like, I am very much exposed and just out here for the world. But I was trying to calm myself down, trying to be real casual and, make banter with people. Um, and I remember telling the anesthesiologist, I was like, listen, I don't need no oops, I accidentally felt that. So you make sure whatever you thought you was going to give me, just
A
a
little
little
bit.
bit more because we're not doing this today. And so everything happened very quick. I think they had actually started cutting before Michael actually made it in the room,
Wow.
which was crazy. My doctor, he wasn't playing. He was very much like not okay with my blood pressure being high. Um, so you feel them tugging. Michael comes in, you feel them tugging, you feel the pressure. Um, yeah, yeah. I remember them. I remember the tugging, and then I remember them being like, "Oh, here's your baby." And I looked up, and I was like, "He looks like a purple dinosaur." Like
Oh,
when he came out, I was just like, "He looks weird."
yeah.
But they take him away. I think they took him away, and it was like within a matter of moments, I could not catch my breath anymore.
Mm.
And I was like, I only thing I could do was hit Michael because I couldn't speak, like I couldn't get words out of my mouth. And I hit him because he was trying, he was looking at
Sure.
Jordan, and I hit him, and he's like looking at me like, yo, what's wrong? And he realized I couldn't breathe. And he's like, um, something's going on. Like she needs help. She's not breathing well. So they're turning up the oxygen. They're like, oh, you got to calm yourself down. It's saying that oxygen is flowing and that you're breathing. And I'm like, I can't. And so now at this point, everything is moving very fast.
Yeah.
Like, um, I know they said they gave me something to, I guess, like almost like shut my nervous system down. So like the anxiety would just go away.
Yeah.
Um, and they pumped up oxygen, whatever they did. I was able to finally catch my breath. But I remember in that moment just thinking I was about to die because it was like, I'm not breathing and nobody cares. It's like everybody's telling me to calm down. How am I supposed to calm down? And I'm not inhaling
Right.
properly. We made it out. Jordan was okay. He was perfectly healthy. Um, they ended up, taking us back to the room. They were gracious enough to let my mom wait because it was way past visiting
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
They were gracious enough to let her wait, and she was in the room when we, finally got to our room. Um, yeah, and that's how Jordan got here.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay. So, for people who don't know, how are you like laid out during a C-section?
Best way I can describe it is like Jesus on a cross, like laid out, arms stretched out. I don't remember. I think your arms are strapped to the table, if I'm not mistaken. And then you're just, they've got you laid out straight, and you can't see anything because there is a curtain that sits like right up under your chest
Mm.
and comes straight up. So you can't see anything that they're doing. You can only see the anesthesiologist and your partner if they're there, and then people's heads kind of bopping over the curtain. But yeah.
Yeah. What, looking back now, right? What things would you have wished for, changed? At,
Um, I wish I would have advocated for myself a little more, in regards to my blood
mm,
pressure. Um, just trying other things first, giving my body time. Even with the Pitocin, I wish I would have given it more time versus one, they never asked to break my water. That was one thing that I did not know was
wow.
happening, that I was not okay with. Um, yeah, they did not ask to break my water. I thought it was like another cervical check. Um, and no, it was not.
Wow.
And that is definitely something else I would, because it would have given me more time. And I also wish I would have been like, screw y'all and bring me a sandwich, because I I was hungry. And I think, I really believe being less hungry would have given me more clarity
Yeah.
in what I wanted.
Yeah.
Mm.
When when you talk about the interventions and wanting to avoid them and things like that, this this cycle
Hmm.
you're saying is common. It is common. And then of course your blood pressure is a problem because you just told me I'm having a C-section.
Yeah,
I didn't want
right,
that.
right.
Of course my blood pressure is a problem because you just told me I'm being induced. I
Hmm.
didn't want that.
Hmm.
And oh, I need to calm down. I don't even know how to do that on a normal basis, but now I'm in this space and I haven't seen my baby. You want me to calm down?
Hmm.
It really seems like all the things and solutions that they have and offer are just that. Like, okay, we said we tried to get you to calm down, but you couldn't. We tried to get your blood pressure down, but it wouldn't go down.
And
But it's not a true solution.
it it feels almost like a conveyor belt. Like, oh, this is just what we do. Like, this is just the process. This is just, it is what it is, versus
Yeah.
this is your birth. This is your body.
This is your life.
Um, yeah, like, how can we craft this experience to fit you and your needs? And that was not something I felt like I got. Um, but I will say, though, I do feel like, so I had an OB and two nurse practitioners that were on my prenatal team
Mm-hmm.
that were checking me. And I will say, I do feel like, with the knowledge that I have now, they did what they could do within the scope of what they do, if that makes sense. I believe, if I had worked with a doula, and I didn't know much about doulas then,
Yeah.
I feel like if I had worked with a doula, then I would have had more knowledge about how I could better advocate for myself and the different processes, or, just different homeopathic remedies and things that we could have tried
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, those are the things that I would have changed.
Absolutely. Um, Now, right, you have this baby. He came out blue and purple. Okay. Now what does postpartum look like?
Oh God. Um, well, it started off, everything was a breeze. I was in the hospital. It wasn't a breeze. I'll say that. It felt like one. I actually didn't sleep the entire time I was in the hospital, and I didn't know that I didn't sleep.
Mm,
It's like I knew, but I didn't feel like I wasn't
right.
sleeping. Um, and my mom said the second night, first night, I don't remember. She sent Michael home one night, let him rest. And then he stayed the other nights, but I just don't remember sleeping. Um, and then I didn't want Jordan to leave the room.
Mm,
Like, I that was one of my big things. Like, if my child is going somewhere, one of us need to go with him. Like, I
yeah.
don't need him to just be gone and something happened to him and I'm not aware of it. Um, but yeah, the hospital was kind of weird. But I remember getting ready to leave the hospital, and I for one did not realize how high I was off these pain medicines.
Mm,
That because I did not feel like I had surgery. And I mean, obviously, I was a little sore. And they were just real big on, like, you can't get up by yourself. And I was like, oh, it's because I just had a baby. But when I got home, I was up. I was walking around, I was moving. And then even when we had, Jordan was jaundice. And so we had to take him to get his blood tested every day for like 7 days until we got his bilirubin levels down.
yeah.
And I went to every appointment, and I just remember people like, why are you here? And
Yeah.
it never really dawned on me that I was supposed to be at home. It never did. But my postpartum experience, it just started off terrible. My mother-in-law, my because my mom was in the hospital room, I
Yeah.
was like, you know I understand wanting your mother there through this process. So I told Michael, I was like, you can tell your mom and your brother, like, they can come visit when we get home. Don't do it. Don't have nobody come to your house. Give yourself at least 2 weeks. Like, don't, unless you know it's a person. No, I don't care who it is. Don't do it. Because I shit you not, my first night home, so we were waiting on my milk to come in. And we had just been doing like the colostrum or whatever. And they told me the day I left the hospital, like, you've got 24 hours from this moment to hopefully get your milk in. If not, just supplement with the formula until it does. Like, don't stop trying, just
Right.
keep. So we got home, everything's fine. Jordan starts screaming in the middle of the night. Not in the middle of the night, it was probably like 7 or 8 o'clock. He starts screaming. And we realized, obviously, this child is hungry. And so he's screaming at the top of his lungs. Michael is sick. You can see the distress on his face because he was trying to let me sleep. And so I go in the room. My in laws are sitting in the living room. And, we're having a conversation about what do we want to do? Like, do we want to try to tough this out, or do we want to go ahead and do the formula that we have? We decided to go do the formula. He was sitting down holding Jordan. So I was like, it's okay. I'll go to the kitchen. I'll get the bottle. Um, my mother-in-law comes in the kitchen and we decided not to do pacifiers for a long time. So that he didn't have a pacifier. She comes in the kitchen, y'all need to give that baby a pacifier because he's crying and you need to figure out what's wrong. And I told her, I was like, we got it. That's how I know I was high. Because all I said was, we got it. Like, we're figuring it out. And she's still going. Y'all are gonna cause this baby to hurt himself. He's gonna have a hernia and this, and like, I mean, just going in. And I was like, we got it. Like, trying to short, sweet, not trying to argue with you. I start walking back to the room. She follows me down the hall,
Oh.
still yelling. And I get into the room, into the baby's room, and Michael looks up and he's looking at her like, what the hell's happening? And so he tries to get up, and I was like, sit down, feed your child. She slams the door because she feels like we're ignoring her. And I'm just like, okay.
Mm.
So feed our child. He ended up having to take her outside and talk. That just makes shit worse. I kid you not. It made everything so much worse because she came in and she apologized, but it was like, I'm sorry, but if she would just listen to me when I say da da da. And
That's
from that
how
moment on, she referred to me as she. She never spoke to me directly. Um, like, I would get up and say good morning. She'd walk out the door.
mm.
Um, and I just remember um, maybe like the second or third day of them being there, we had gotten back from um, doing Jordan's blood work, and I didn't even want to go in my own house. I remember sitting in my car crying because I was like, I don't feel at home. I don't feel safe. I feel stressed when I go inside. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not even getting to enjoy the time with my child, like these first few days. Um, so then Michael's little brother, the plan actually was for his mom to stay a while. So she was supposed to be getting dropped off. But so his brother, maybe like three days later, was about to leave. And I told Michael, she gotta go. I
Mm.
can't do it. I can't have somebody in my house making me this uncomfortable.
In your home.
Um, yeah. And so he had to tell her, like, you gotta go. You gotta go with she had to go with um her other son. And that started a whole lot of, well, where our relationship stands now. Like, we still don't very much speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she still has not, I think she's maybe spent a total of 3 days with Jordan in his entire life. Yeah, so that's how it started. After that, it was was tough. I was by myself for a long time. Michael's job did not give him paternity
Oh,
leave. So he did have like 2 weeks of PTO saved up.
yeah.
And so I feel like that first part of it was wasted because we had people in our house. um, but that, the second week, he helped out where he could and we got through it. I was really thankful for my mom because she would come over and, clean up a little bit, wash dishes, trying to make sure everything was good. And, but it wasn't until I want to say about week 4, I really want to say it was like week 4 that I remember feeling like I was about to snap. And
Mm,
I wasn't mad at anybody.
yeah.
I was tired. I was exhausted. I woke up one night to feed Jordan, change his diaper. Oh God. And I could have killed this man in his sleep. I really could have. Because he wasn't like the child would be crying and we're all in one bed and he wouldn't move. He wouldn't roll over. He may blink and then he'd just go back to sleep.
Oh my God.
Granted, like if I would wake him up, he would get up, but it was still like, how are you not hearing the
Just
screaming that's happening? But this particular night, Jordan would not stop screaming. And
mm,
it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. And I remember being so tired, like my eyes were just like crossing and I'm looking at him. Oh, and I get so sad when I say this, but I remember I was just like, what is wrong with you?
mm,
Because he would not shut up.
yeah.
And when I did it, I felt
Yeah.
it. And I woke Michael up and I was like, I can't. And I handed him Jordan and I went on the couch and I turned on the TV and I just went to sleep. Like I don't really know what happened after that. But oh my goodness, I felt so bad. I still feel bad to this day. And I'm so thankful he's okay because I know it can be really, really bad. But I just remember starting to feel like I was losing my mind because I was by myself up every 4 hours nursing. And then my nursing experience, my body did not like breastfeeding.
Mm,
Um, so I had this thing, I think they call it DMERS, DMERS. Basically, my body physically rejects breastfeeding. Like I can do
mm-hmm.
it, but it causes like it almost it made me feel like I wanted to rip my skin off of my
Oh,
body. It so when I would nurse, I'd have to like have a pillow or something. I wasn't in pain, but it was just the weirdest sensation all over my body. Like it was like my skin was crawling or like it was weird. And I'd have to like distract myself by like rubbing on a blanket or like rubbing on a pillow or just rocking or something.
yeah.
And so that was also very trying. Um, yeah. And it, I felt like as I stopped trying to manage postpartum and the more that I just leaned into it, like the better my flow got of how to deal with it. But I still dealt with postpartum depression. Um, and I was very proactive about it. I did talk to my doctor prior to because I knew I've dealt with depression before. And so I went into the experience letting them know, hey, this is something that I have dealt with before. I know that makes my chances even greater in the postpartum period. So they were very aware. After I had my son, they actually took me off of what I was on. I was taking I forgot. I think it was Wellbutrin. I think I was taking Wellbutrin, and they took me off of it because they were trying to say that the Wellbutrin was going to cause anxiety, and that was probably why I was struggling
Mm,
nursing. Um, but that didn't help. That just kind of made shit worse. um, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think any other like significant. I did start having issues the further into postpartum I got, the more, I realized like I was losing my autonomy. I
yeah.
couldn't go
Yeah.
anywhere. If anybody has followed my page, like sharing my story about, I ran out of caffeine. Like I was exhausted. I had no coffee, no tea, no, nothing in the house. And I just put Jordan down and I just remember like having to fight myself to not get up and go to the store because, and it's like, granted, the store is like, I can throw a rock and hit it from my driveway, but it was like, you can't leave your child in the bed. Like, but
Right.
these are the real thoughts that were in my head. And then I remember maybe about, it was, I think exactly like 7, 8 months period. I remember being so tired and wanting to go to sleep that I was just, the thought of just, if you just follow this knife, you'll go to
Uh-huh.
sleep and you won't wake up. And it wasn't like I was really like, I wasn't suicidal. It was like my brain was trying to find a way to rest. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
But when I had that thought, I did. I reached out to a therapist and I was like, something ain't
Yeah.
right. Cause I know tired, but this is different. Um, it was tough. And the people that I thought would be super supportive and in my corner, like they didn't show up, not the way that I thought they would.
Yeah.
I remember specifically, like I reached out to my mom, like I had gone over there, um, and I was just letting her know, like I feel like I'm losing myself. Like I don't feel okay. And she was just kind of like, yeah, it happens. Only to later told my husband that night, Jasmine has to stop being so selfish. If she would stop thinking about herself so much, she wouldn't be struggling. And
Oh.
when he told me that, and he probably should have told me, but when he told me that, and I'm glad he did
Yeah.
though, because it made me realize these spaces that I thought were safe, they
Yeah.
weren't. And I know there was no ill intent. Like I know people think they're doing what they feel is best and they're helping the way that they know how, but
Yeah.
it wasn't helpful. Like I came vulnerable. Like I'm not a big talk about my feelings with my parents type person. So for me to come to you and be like, I think I need somebody to see me or help me, and for that to be the response, it was like, I'm good. Like I shut down, I shut myself off from most of like my immediate family outside of, like normal like dinners and stuff like that, like where I was not going out of my way to be involved with people.
And then
And
you
even my sister.
own.
Hmm?
I said now and then you're doing everything on your
Yeah,
own. Yeah.
yeah. My husband, the job he had at the time, it was nothing for him to work 60 hours a week. It seems like all government jobs, they're always behind on everything.
Everything.
They're,
That backlog. Oh my
oh
God.
God. And then they randomly decide that they're going to try to meet the date and everybody's got to work overtime. And so, yeah, I was alone for a long time.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of friends. I won't say a lot, but I lost friends. I had a homegirl and she and I were we were close. And it she actually experienced, well, she decided not to go through with a pregnancy about 3 or 4 months before I found out I was pregnant.
Mm.
But she actually regretted her decision. Um, and then when I shared my pregnancy, she just ghosted me. She didn't come to the baby shower. She didn't come to the gender reveal. Like, and I don't think I actually heard from her again until he was maybe like 3 or 4 months old.
Mm.
Um, yeah.
And in that, can can you see how that is her processing?
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. I don't hold it against her. I It was just like, man, I really needed my friend.
Yes.
And I thought eventually she would come around, but it was like, no, like oh, okay.
Yeah.
And she did come visit him, but I had to pump the brakes on that too, because when she came over, she was high. And there was nothing wrong with her being high, like, you smoke your weed, whatever. But she reeked of weed. And I was like,
No. No, friend, no.
yeah, no, we don't. Mm-mm.
So when do you feel like, right? Because now Jasmine now is not, that's not that Jasmine. That's not 6 months postpartum Jasmine. When do you feel like you really and like got your head above water. And let's be real, we all still treading water. Let's
Yes,
be honest with that. But like where you are now, when do you feel like that started to change?
it took a while, but therapy helped
Yeah.
me. And I've been with the same therapist. I started with her probably about 7 months postpartum, and we've been together ever since.
Yeah.
Um, but she helped me realize how important I am.
Mm-hmm.
Because mothers, like everybody oohs and ahs over you while you're pregnant, but the moment the baby comes out, you're just mincemeat. Like, who the fuck cares about this mama? Like, I want to see this baby. Um, and that's just really what it felt like. Like nobody gave a damn about Jasmine. Like nobody wanted to come visit Jasmine. Nobody was checking on Jasmine. It was like, oh, how's Jordan? Like, how's the baby? Does he need anything? And so I had to fight to find my self-worth again
Yeah.
because I spent all of my waking time caring for this child and I barely was caring for myself.
Yeah.
Like, like I couldn't tell you when I actually had like real food because everything was just like grab and go, trying to eat something just to keep myself fed enough to feed my child. Like
Girl,
it
you
was.
feel like that now, okay? You definitely ate leftovers, children leftovers, the last time you were over.
But I eat better. I
Okay.
eat a whole lot better.
Okay.
We count we track our macros and stuff now. Like we're doing the things.
So when
But it was
do
a
you feel like that
process.
started to happen? When do you feel like that process started to happen?
It I don't think I actually felt like my head was above water probably until like the beginning of 2024.
Mm.
Yeah. Because that was when I made the decision to have a life.
Mm-hmm.
Um I actually reconnected with a friend from like high school. We were never like super, super close. We just grew up very adjacent to each other.
Yeah.
Um, but we just randomly reconnected. And we started bonding over a lot of similar experiences. And yeah, she helped me. She helped me so much. I remember actually Brittany, who just logged on, we went to her birthday party,
Of
2024 in January. And I think that was like one of the first times I had gone outside. And granted, we were like shit-faced drunk by the time we got home, but
course.
it was like, oh my God, like I'm a person, and people actually like, and not that I'm looking for attention, but guys actually being like, "Oh, can I buy you a drink? Like, can I do?" Like feeling like something other than a cow
Yeah.
was like,
No, that's validation.
yes,
That's validation, right?
yeah,
And it doesn't
and
matter
it just,
to me you're looking for attention. It means that someone is showing you that you're not just a mom, you're not just this source of food, that you're not just this caretaker. Like, girl, you fine. And that's important.
yeah, but that was it. That I made the decision to start working again. I started taking clients. I started training again.
Wow.
I started working out myself. And it wasn't until I started doing things that I enjoyed doing and choosing not to let myself feel bad about it that things started to change. And I mean, that was the start. But
Mm.
when I say it was a slow, dirty grind that I won't even still say that I'm out of because you still have your days. Like, but when I say I had to dig, like there were days you got to do it when you're ugly crying, like the
Ooh.
the therapy, the getting up and going to the gym, and then saying no, shutting myself off. Like we were not on a schedule in my house.
Mm.
My husband is allergic to schedules for whatever reason, and so I started. You don't want to put this child to bed 7 o'clock. I'm clocking out. I don't care because I get up. I start training at
Yeah, yeah,
ungodly hours. I get up at 3:30. 7 is a great time for me to stop working. If
absolutely.
you don't want to get him shut down, I don't care. Y'all do. And even to this day, I let him know I'm done. I ain't got nothing for y'all. Um, doing that, meeting people, finding purpose within my business.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it actually, my entire postpartum experience actually shifted the focus of my training business. And not that I just train moms, But now I'm so passionate about helping moms rediscover themselves.
Yeah.
Not just the snapback, because that's a bunch of bull crap, but like finding yourself again, rediscovering your body, and finding your strength, learning how to just be in control of yourself. Um,
Yeah.
Requiring time for yourself, because getting to the gym is a commitment to you. You got to leave them kids, or even if you bring them with you, because I'll let my moms bring their kids with them, but just requiring that there be a time of day that is just for
Just
them.
for them.
um
Yeah.
yeah, but that passion, that rediscovering what I loved, and just carving out intentional time for myself, that was the biggest part of pulling me out of that slump.
Oh man. So then, what advice do you have for moms or parents who are in it, pregnant, trying to conceive, postpartum? What advice do you have?
I think and this is not even me trying to be funny. Go to the gym. I know it sounds I
Bitch,
I
better advice. I don't like it.
it, no, but for
Yeah.
real, it wasn't until like I rediscovered my
Yep.
strength. That I rediscovered carving out time for myself. That I learned how to connect with my body
Mm,
again. That I actually felt like I started to come out of this dark space. Like, and I think with postpartum depression, like, yeah, we're so quick to be like, oh, just I'm all for medication because we take it over
drugs are
here.
friends. They
Yes.
are.
But the medication did not pull me out of depression.
No.
The medication gave me the strength to do the work. And I think we get so hyper focused in motherhood on taking care of our child, which is a good thing. But you actually have to work to pull yourself out of that space.
Yeah.
And that's why I say go to the gym, because you're going to do work when you go work out.
Yeah.
And it gives you time to think. It gives you it. You got to lock in with you.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was some ugly tears in that gym sometimes, but it really helped me get back in touch with myself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that makes sense. To physically feel how strong you are, literally have a number to it, being able to lift or press or whatever a certain amount, like that does give you some type of empowerment. So
Mhm.
I 100%, even though I hate working out, built a whole career off of it, I get it. There is this beauty that comes when you're like, no, I'm a badass and I can do this. I'm strong. And not
Mhm.
mentally, but physically I am strong and I can show that. So I
Mhm.
I think that's wonderful advice. Um, and you're right, the drugs are there. They are a tool. Like when I started taking antidepressants, I was like, I'm gonna be happy, and that's just not how it works. Okay, you
No.
are in control of your own happiness. It just gives you access to
Mhm.
it. It unlocks that door to be like, if you really want to do it, you have access to it.
Mhm.
You just have to do the work to get
Right.
there. And so you're absolutely right. I just listened to your story, girl. You got me. You got me a couple times where I was like, and I came prepared today with my tissue.
I'm surprised I didn't have to use mine. I actually did pretty
It's
good.
okay because we gotta dig a little deeper. So, right, that's what we're here for. That is what we're here for. We've told you, like, we are here to give you the raw, the real, the scary stuff, but also the resources and understanding, and know that you're not alone in this. And friend, you're not alone because you got me and amazing other support systems. So I just want to say thank you though for sharing this, sharing your pregnancy, sharing your birth story, this postpartum journey. That girl, we know postpartum's forever. Um, and that we're just watching this process as it happens.
Mhm.
And so
Yep.
thank you for that.
Of course. But honestly, like, if I can help anybody, you know, navigate the process, that's really what it's about for me.
Yeah.
Because we gonna go through it. You're gonna go through it. You're gonna go through it. You have a kid, you are gonna go through it. I don't know what your through it is gonna look like, but you're gonna go through something. And it's not, they sent me home with a piece of paper and was like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how depressed do you feel? What? Like, like that's their mental health check when you leave the hospital. And so that it's just not enough. It's not enough. It's never been enough. So if me sharing my experience with people helps even a little bit, then yeah.
Yeah. And we want to hear y'all's experience. So you can email us at PhysioPhitHSV@gmail.com. You can DM us. You can also, I don't know, I forget how else people can send it to us. It's fine. That's great options. But we want to just make sure that we're bringing you this information and sharing your stories, sharing your feedback, things like that. We want to hear it. But yeah, Fred, I think that's it.
Yay!
Okay, bye.